Okay, so the way I'm taking it is that with when even Natsuhi accepts Kinzo's child, he doesn't go as like crazy and like drink constantly alcohol and stuff to the point that it essentially kills him, and so he lives longer. That's my assumption.
For Kinzo.
Yeah, and so when we come to this date, he's still alive, and he has his ceremony, his funeral for Beatrice to kind of give him some peace, I guess.
Mm.
You'd almost look at it as like he's about to give the
So
successorship to
really,
Liam.
everything is Kinzo's fault. If it wasn't for Kinzo, none of this would have happened.
If it wasn't for the creation of mankind, none of this would have happened either.
Well, I mean, if Kinzo didn't impregnate his own daughter, there wouldn't be this malicious human being running around the island.
Yes, but we also wouldn't have Umineko.
True.
You ready?
I am ready.
Getting right off to it. Are you lighting a bong? What are you doing? Every time, I swear I hear that, I'm just like, it sounds like you're ripping a bomb.
I'm just blowing bubbles in my milkshake.
Yeah, sure.
Is that what it really sounds like? Do you think it's because
It
it's a
does.
paper straw?
Huh? Yasu. I need to select the screen. What did you do with the small broom?
I was not prepared for Shannon. Didn't you use it to clean the window frames? Wait, is it me who's doing that
Yes.
narration voice?
Remember, you are narrating the diary entry. essentially.
As Beatrice?
Just neutral is fine, but you can do it.
What was I doing before? I can't remember.
Well, this is like young child, pre-Beatrice, I guess. So just like a neutral should be fine.
Are you sure I didn't read it as Beatrice last time?
You might have done it a few times,
I
but,
think I... okay.
but considering the context, there's still like a child
Okay.
at this point.
I'm not going to do a child's voice. I don't think I can right now.
No, you don't have to do a child's voice, but
The small broom is a little thin broom that looks like a large paintbrush. We use it to clear out the dust in small corners, like window frames. It's one of the cleaning tools I was put in charge of.
come on, that's your responsibility. What have you been doing, idiot?
Actually, I had a thought. So the maids that are showing up here are like the stakes of...
They're not on the island on the day of the crime, if that's what you're getting at.
No. I was wondering if like they turn into like stakes of like evil, what is it, greeds, lusts, like what is the
The sins?
sins, like, so they're like the 7 sins,
Yeah.
which are generally not good beings. Is that because the culprit Beatrice that we are right now was bullied by them and they're like, I'm gonna make you evil?
Yeah, you could say that.
like looking at this girl who was Satan.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's Satan. I hate you, Satan. You know, like some people are like, this person is Satan, or this person is, or they'll name their cat like Lucifer or something because it's like so nasty.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like that? Like, I hate you all, therefore I
You
see
could
you as
probably
Satan,
attribute
or
some of that to it. I'm sure part of it would also be just like
part of the occult aspect.
the occult aspect, and like maybe attributing some of their personality traits to, you know, those specific things. Because I think it does. Cause you will see more of them later.
Yeah.
I think they will like talk about the things they're based on as well.
Okay.
Just like they do in just like magic form.
Yep. Quickly, go and find it. You have to do it before Madame finds out. Madame. Who is this?
Belphegor, I think.
Which one's
Should
Belphegor?
be.
I need a little
Sloth.
list on the side to say like what each name represents.
I think she's Sloth.
What's up?
Yasu lost the small broom again. The kid must be some sort of genius at losing things.
That's why I'm always telling you, never give things to Yasu. Yasu's always careless and losing things. Don't say that. Can't you see that this kid's working hard? Go on, hurry and find it. I'll wait for you.
So you see how like they never respond to Shannon?
At the moment, they haven't responded to anybody. They're just being told off.
They talk to the Yasu and they respond to each other. But like every time Shannon's interacted, quote unquote, with them, it's never shown a response to that. It's just like I think we were talking about it last week. How I said like I wasn't sure if Shannon existed as like a physical being at this point.
Okay.
And so that's more or less why.
Okay. Not wanting to hear my fellow servants complain even more, I spun around and headed off. If you lose a tool, you get in trouble. If no one knows who did it, we all get yelled at. So one of them will probably tell Madame. Is it Madame or Madame?
Probably Madam, because it doesn't have the weird thingy over it, yeah.
True. So one of them will probably tell Madame that it was my fault. Still, it really is my fault that I lost it in the first place. I wonder when I lost it. When... We cleaned out the entire chapel today. The chapel is a large building behind the mansion. However, no one ever goes near it normally. Even so, we are ordered to clean it a few times each year. Kinzo calls it a sacred building, so Natsuhi is very strict about it. We clean every little nook and cranny from top to bottom. Why do they have a chapel? It's taken me 7 episodes to ask that question?
You might have asked it before.
Because it doesn't seem like they use it.
Or do they?
Do you think Kinzo had a ceremony with Beatrice?
There have been some hints.
There have been hints, or there will be hints?
Regarding the chapel, and you'll find out the answer at the end.
Okay.
It's not like a... It's like a, oh my gosh, kind of like...
But it is like a legitimate question to have?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. We cleaned every little nook and cranny from top to bottom. It had taken all day. I had been in charge of cleaning the window frames, but I had also been given many smaller tasks. While those small jobs were keeping me busy, I completely forgot about the small broom. And I must have left it lying around somewhere. I began to hate I began to hate myself for it. This isn't the first time that this has happened. Oh no, I've got nose tickles. It happens all the time. Every time I set something down, it always disappears. It goes somewhere else, vanishes. I thought it was probably the witch Beatrice pranking me. The ghost of the witch gained power from Rikenjima's evil spirits and was reborn. Until Kumasawa-san told me, I never knew the meaning of the shrine on the rocks by the sea. Kumasawa told me an old tale passed down among the local fishermen. Rikenjima used to be known as Akuji Kishima, and terrible evil spirits who ate human souls lived there.
Hey, Kumasawa! Let us hear it too!
Tell us the scary, scary tale of Rikenjima's evil spirits.
Very well, very well. Rikenjima was once called Akukishima. Let me
Let me start that again. Yeah, I missed it.
Rikenjima was once called Azukishima. However, even deeper in the distant past, it was known as Akujikishima.
Wait, I was right the first time.
No, she said Azukishima, and then Akuji.
I must have read the other one first.
You did.
Okay.
It was rumored that sailors who went too near the island were dragged down to the bottom of the sea and had their souls eaten. Yes, frightening spirits such as those do exist on this island.
It was Kumasawa's favorite ghost story. Every new servant who came to the island heard about it. Such stories are usually laughed off. But when stormy nights visited Rikenjima, bringing an eerie howling to that lonely island where nothing exists except the Ushiromiya mansion, everyone would listen meekly. The shrine by the coast was there to seal the evil spirits away.
And the master had that creepy occult hobby.
That's me, isn't it?
Yep.
Is that me or you? I forgot the names.
I'm Zeppa. You're
Yeah. And the mansion was so spooky, it was easy to picture something hiding in the shadows.
True. The traveling Shugenja monk was only barely able to suppress those spirits. The seal just managed to hold them. But to this very day, they wander through the mansion, night after night, searching for a victim.
I got the same hairline as Kumasawa.
No, you don't.
Have you seen the master's study?
I have! It's like some kind of demon laboratory.
There's that rumor about master researching demons.
They also say he's researching how to revive his mistress Beatrice.
Didn't they say he was gathering children to be sacrifices for his magic experiments?
What? Scary! What did you do if the master asked you to come into the study alone?
I heard that long ago. One kid went into the study and never came out.
That must have been a victim of an experiment to give Beatrice's ghost a new body.
very true. Beatrice Summer has become a ghost and wanders around searching for a body. The VIP room on the second floor is where Beatrice Summer dwells. You must always be respectful when cleaning that room. If you aren't...
In the eyes of teenage boys and girls, with their powerful imaginations, the ghost story was both terrifying and fascinating. It gave them a sense of solidarity, since they all got to experience the same tale. Then that sharing became an obligation, and accepting the story became a rite of passage for joining the community. This was something that had been passed on since long ago.
That's right. Back when I first started work at Rikenjima, I heard that story from Kumasawa-san and the older servants.
I heard about it too, mostly from Nair-san.
I heard it too. From Kumasawa-san mainly.
So, not only the timid-looking Shannon, but a boy Canon and a big adult Gerda believed in the ghost story.
Well, I didn't really.
There are tales of ghost stories and jinxes in all jobs. There were several stories of the sort at the hotel I once worked at. It's just... they're too similar.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
So, you thought it was silly and didn't mind it at all?
I think there was a need to blend with the community.
That's it. Ghost stories and jinxes are the local rules of your workplace. If a newcomer breaks those rules, they can't expect to be welcomed in.
Exactly. If I said witches couldn't possibly exist, that the whole idea was ridiculous, then I'd get into a fight with Nair-san. It was easier if I just appeared to go along with it.
Come on, if you think that way, you'll be cursed. There was one servant who got seriously injured.
All workplaces have stories like that. No matter how incredible the ghost stories and tales about the company founder are, you accept and believe them. That's what it means to blend in with your new workplace.
Would that have been the, servant who got pushed off the cliff? That got
I'm
severely
not
injured?
too sure. There was the most, I think one of the most brought up ones was one of the servants fell down the stairs.
Oh, really?
And
I
they
don't
got
remember
injured,
that.
yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Wow.
Everyone's
Everyone's
so
so
mature.
mature.
I don't know. I can't.
Oh, you broke
Voice
up
crack.
a little bit then. You had a voice crack. I went to each window around the chapel in the order I had cleaned them, searching carefully in all the places I might have left it. I had been cleaning the windows with it, so it had probably been set down near one of those. When did I leave it, I wonder? Now that I think about it, I don't think I had it anymore when I reached the last window, so I must have completely forgotten to clean that window frame. Ah. Through the window, I could see the others leaving one after another. Shannon turned around and glanced up, looking worried. I don't want to be responsible for making everyone wait, so I am actually glad they're leaving without me. If I said I wanted them to wait for me, I'd be relying on them too much. The sun's beginning to set and the chapel's getting darker and darker. I don't want to hang around in a place like this all by myself. I'd better find the small broom fast. No, that's not all. I also need to clean the window frames, I forgot. Madam is strict. She'll probably check all of the windows carefully. If she does, I'll be the one who gets in trouble tomorrow. But really, where did I lose it? Why did I lose it? The darkness grew and grew. When it became dark enough that I would need a light before long, I began to panic. I dashed around and around the chapel, tears streaming down my face. As I stumbled about pathetically, I could feel the presence of a prankster witch giggling at me from the crack of the door and gaps in the ceiling. The ghost of Beatrice, the master's mistress, wanders about in search of a body to this very day. As she absorbs the power of Rekenjima's evil spirits, her strength steadily grows and she waits for the day of her resurrection. And for some reason, she's peeking out at me. And if I ever take my eyes off something for a second, she snatches it away and hides it. This isn't the first time this has happened. Whenever I look away, keys, handkerchiefs, pencils, erasers, all of them vanish almost right away. Even though I was planning to use them later on, or just wanted to put them in their proper place, they disappear as soon as I turn around. It isn't someone hiding them as a prank. It's happened many times when I'm the only person around. Everyone always says I'm too careless and forgetful, and they laugh at me, get mad at me. I do try to be alert, but like some kind of bad joke, I lose things easily when I forget about them for just a short while. So sometimes I think, this eraser is going to disappear sooner or later, and I stare at it. But at those times alone, it doesn't disappear. Nothing disappears when I'm alert. But as soon as I think I'm safe and the tension relaxes just a bit, then something else will disappear. Why is it always me? Yeah, I hear you. I can tell that the witch is laughing at me as I lamely run around in circles. I'm surprised I didn't add the sound effect in. Listening to that voiceless laugh, I finally slammed my hands against the wall, crying tears of frustration. Please, just stop it. Why do you always hide my things and get me in trouble? And the witch answered, Fool, isn't it obvious? Why else except to entertain myself by watching you wander about pointlessly? I couldn't bear it. Even though I knew what she said was true, hearing it said directly was incredibly annoying. I understand. That small broom probably is somewhere in this chapel. No, that's not quite it. I'm sure that the moment before I reached this window, it was right there on the windowsill. That's right, I'm sure I put it by this window. But the prankster witch Beatrice used her magic, and just before I reached this spot, she instantly teleported the small broom to the next window over. The instant I approached that window, a hole appeared beneath the object and swallowed it up. And it sorry. And it came out by the next window after that. This is Garp, though, not Beatrice.
Maybe you should read it as a Garp.
Sorry?
Maybe you should read The Witch as a Garp then.
Oh, my goodness. And it came out by the next window after that. It landed right inside it, as though it had been there the whole time. And this happened over and over again. As I ran up to that window, the small broom fell into a magic hole and went to the next window. And when I went to that window, it went to the next window. And I realized that she was just making fun of me. So no matter how much I searched, it would be useless. But if I stop searching, it'll be just sitting there by one window or another. So this isn't a search. It's a test of endurance. I kept chasing after the small broom, and Beatrice kept making it escape to the next window over, trying to make me give up. This is an eternal chase that'll end only when one of us gives up. So I kept going around and around, even to windows that I knew I'd already searched. If it's not by this one, then try the next one, and the next one. And the witch kept moving the small broom to the next window, and the next. Just give it a rest. How long are you going to make fun of me? This isn't the only time. You always do this. The shrill, voiceless laugh of the former witch continued to mock my sobbing. The witch is right beside me, laughing at me. As I dash around the chapel, she's following along with me, taunting me. Then, she must be there. She is right behind me, just over my shoulder, still cackling away. I know that turning around won't help since she has no form. I can try to look, but I mustn't look with my eyes. Once my eyes tell me there's nothing there, I won't be able to see anymore. I learned that from the director of the Fukuin house. You mustn't try to see with your eyes. You must see with the eyes of your heart. The whole world is filled with God's love. In the many blessings of the everyday life, one can see God, angels, and the Holy Ghost. If you try to look with your eyes, you won't see them, so you won't be able to see them. So you won't be able to feel them or understand them. With the eyes of the heart, you will quietly understand. You don't look at their image. You see and draw them with your heart. In this way, I learned how to recognize beings not of this world at the Fukuin house. It doesn't just mean being able to see God. This power lets one see all of those not of this world. Please, stop it now. Stop this prank. I don't know who this is. Oh, so you can speak to me. I'm clumsy, bad at my job, and I do put things down and forget about them a lot. But I know which things were my fault and which things were because of your pranks. How amusing. Not only can you perceive me in my formless state, but you even understand my little game. It seems you're a more interesting creature than I thought. Yasu. I'm usually called Yasu when one of the older servants is laughing behind my back at some mistake I've made. So when I hear that name, it feels bad. She called me not by the blessed name given to me by the Fukuin house, but by that unblessed name. Upsetting the heart is a classic move that evil beings make. They do it to make it harder for people to notice their presence. To beings like witches, being understood is like shoving them out into the light of day. It won't work in the Fukuin house. I learned how to perceive those not of this world. So I'm already able to understand you. Very interesting. You've taken me, a being so faint that I'd fly away if you blew on me, and trapped me, perceived me. You're an interesting kid, Yasu. It won't work. I've now understood and perceived you. No matter how many unpleasant things you say, you'll just expose the ugliness of your heart. Without turning around, I slowly let my range of vision fill the entire chapel. It was as though the viewpoint of my soul was floating out from the shell of my head. See, inch by inch, my range of vision is floating out of my head and drifting upwards. As I looked down at myself, standing there with head hanging and eyes tightly shut, the eyes of my heart, very slowly, rose up to the ceiling of the chapel.
Should we ever do this?
What is this, like astro projecting?
I mean, not necessarily to that like technical level. I just mean like with your imagination as a kid.
Yeah, I feel like when you're a child, your imagination at nighttime is even more wild, and because you're scared, and like shadows and things make shapes that you don't understand.
Well, I mean like trying to perceive yourself from like bird's eye view, I guess, kind of.
I don't know if I really did that.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of like astral projection or whatever. But I don't know. Depends if you believe on that stuff or not. So like obviously,
I think it's a thing. It's a thing people can do. Whether it's like, I don't know if it's actually good.
I don't know if it's like a real scientific thing or anything, but just like in your imagination, being able to like
fly,
envision yourself from like different angles, perspectives, and stuff like that.
I can't
and, like
really say
imagine
that
yourself in a scene.
In a scene or in the scene?
Yeah, in a scene, like you're watching a movie and it's like shot from like just somewhere else outside of your body.
Not really. I feel like I've disappointed you.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah, everyone does this, right?
Right? Right? It's like the meme. And when I looked down from there, I saw myself standing in the center of the chapel, and the witch standing behind me. Apparently the witch realized that I could see her. An is Garp!
That's why I said maybe you should read it as Garp.
Oh, I was avoiding it because I always get stuck with her voice. Oh my goodness. She turned around and raised her eyes to look at the eyes of my heart floating by the ceiling. At last, I could see the witch Beatrice with the eyes of my heart.
A mere human that can perceive my form?
The demonic lips twisted in an ugly curve. It was clearly a challenging, repulsive, demon smile. She wore a blood-red dress and a hat. The design was completely different from anything humans wore. Her hair was blonde. It had countless beautiful curls, like a princess from a picture book, but there was no trace of cuteness about her.
I did think you were a bit different from the other humans, but it seems I was mistaken. Forget just a bit, you're nothing like those other humans.
You sad witch who can be seen by no one, heard by no one. Have you been pulling these pranks all the time, just to catch the attention of humans?
I use what little trick I have to interfere when humans aren't looking, no matter what I do. None of them think it's magic. They decide that they just made a little mistake and blow my existence away like the candles on a cake.
If so, then I have just saved you, because I understand you and have perceived you.
Saved me? To me, this meeting with you is nothing more than a new way to kill time.
It's getting dark. I don't have time to play with you anymore.
Oh, my apologies. I was so engrossed that I didn't notice the time.
Please, give it back. My cleaning tool.
That small broom, or whatever you call it, is right there by the next window.
But as soon as I get close, you'll move it to the next window over.
My form is elusive, as is my magic. With the snap of my fingers, I can do anything.
The witch snapped her fingers, and various things throughout the chapel were sucked into a black pitfall beneath them, disappearing. No, they didn't disappear. The instant they vanished into the dark holes, other dark holes appeared in completely different parts of the chapel, and the vanished objects fell out of those. Chairs, musical scores, clocks, and vases started appearing and disappearing all across the room. It made it feel as though countless tools were flying about the chapel.
I could do things like this, but don't. After all, this would be a bit beyond a mere prank, don't you think?
I wonder what the difference between a prank and magic is to a witch. When she snapped her fingers again, all of the loud flying objects returned to their original spots. And silence fell.
I've taken a liking to you. You've perceived and captured me. It works the same in reverse. I perceived and captured you.
The Fukuin director told me not to try and see evil beings. If you see them, they will possess you. Now that I understood this witch, a bond had been formed between us.
That is correct. Now that you have acknowledged my existence, I have formed a bond with you. After all the years I've spent in boredom, it was nice to have a young kid like you to talk to.
I'll talk to you from time to time. So will you stop pulling pranks like this?
No, I'm not here to talk to you, but to play with ya. And if we're playing pranks, they're just part of the game, right? Very well. I've had enough fun for one day. The sun is sunk and the moon is full. I'm a bit tired after appearing in front of you for so long. Let us call it a night. Look how much fun we had with just a single broom.
Please, give it back.
No way! I'll keep this as a token of our meeting.
Got a problem with that? If I said I did, would you give it back to me?
I never listen to humans. However, I might lend an ear to a friend.
If you give it back, I'll acknowledge you as a friend.
Foolish human! Did you actually think that alone would make me want to deal? If you want to make a deal with me, try drawing a mysterious magic circle or two. And yet, I might consider your proposal.
What do you mean, you might?
I'll take my time deciding whether you're worthy to be my friend. After all, to be a witch is to be a contrarian, and amano jaku. If you ask us for an answer, we'll never give one right away.
Choking. Understood. Then I'll leave the small broom with you. Please give it back when you decide to be my friend.
Very well. Will this broom become a bridge of friendship between us or not? I'll hang on to it for now, making my decision in my own good time.
When the witch snapped her fingers, the broom for which I had searched so long fell out of a hole in the air, landing between the fingers she had just snapped.
This is goodbye. This game with you was far from boring. Let us play again sometime.
If you're my friend, that is.
When a cat toys with a mouse, does it try to become friends with it first?
The witch faded away. As she did, the eyes of my heart shut themselves. When I returned to my body, I felt suddenly tired and let out a breath I'd been holding. Of course, when I turned around, there was no one to be seen. I couldn't feel the witch's presence anywhere anymore. It had gotten very dark by this time. I decided to leave the chapel. There's no point in searching for the small broom any longer. Not until the witch decides to give it back. I went out of the chapel. The chapel key had been left in the lock. I used it to lock the door. What am I going to do about the small broom? There's nothing I can do. I can't even blame the witch. I must acknowledge that I'm responsible for giving the witch a chance. When I happened to glance downwards, I saw a small broom lying there by my feet. It was the broom I had been searching for all this time. Don't tell me that I'll be swallowed up by a dark hole the instant I bend over to pick it up. No, this is a sign from the witch. A sign that she acknowledges me as a friend. I picked it up. Oh, I am one yet many. The first friend I made after coming to this island was apparently not a human at all. However, when I think back on it, it was only natural.
Wait, what about Shannon? Is Shannon not a friend? She not considers Shannon to be a friend?
Shannon's a servant.
You can still have friends among servants.
Shannon, depending on how we go by it, Shannon could just be, like I think I said,
like even
an
if
image of
Shannon
what-
doesn't exist, it's still like an imaginary friend.
could be like just what Yasu imagines they want to become.
Okay.
Although I do think she, or he, whatever we're going by, said, I think they mentioned Shannon as a friend, like back in the first chapter. It was like, they're like, oh, Shannon's the only one. Shannon's my only
Yeah, that's why
friend
I'm
or
like,
something
what?
like that. Yeah.
What is happening?
It could just be like a translation difference, like, yeah, the first friend I made after coming to the island. So not being in the Fukuin house, but
Oh,
coming to Rikenjima.
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that makes sense. I will start that again. Who are we? Beatrice. Battler. The first friend I made after coming to the island was apparently not a human at all. However, when you think back on it, it was only natural. What other sort of friend would you expect to make on a witch's island? This was the first meeting between me and Beatrice. However, some of you listeners may have noticed this was not a meeting with the real Beatrice. The witch I then called Beatrice would later be known by another name. However, she was clearly not human. And being bonded with one who is not human means being bonded with their world. I still had no way of knowing the varied fates that waited for me on Rikenjima.
End of chapter 2. The first friend. So what just happened?
What just
Explain
happened?
it to me. Yes.
What?
What just happened?
You want my interpretation of it, or what actually
Yep.
just happened?
Both.
Well, it kind of seems like... they lost the broom, and their way of coping with that loss of not being able to find it, combined with like the darkness of night, led them to have some really, really, I don't know, big imaginations of like, it's not me, it can't be me, it's got to be something else. Like, I know where I put it here and it's not here, so it's got to be a witch or the imps or the sock goblin. Like, not me, I didn't do anything.
Yes. Perfect. Yassi lost the broom and was coping.
Yeah.
That's all we saw.
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling, right? When you're like, I swear, it's not me. I left it here, and it's just not there.
Yeah, but it is
But
you.
in reality, it is you, and it's just like, there's that one lapse in memory that is where you like changed its position or something like that.
Yeah, and it's almost like they've... I don't know whether it's like copium or denial, like whichever one you want to go with. They've just gotten to the point where it's almost like they've convinced themselves that it actually isn't them, it is a witch. And then finding the broom in the place where they didn't think it was because I'm assuming the like sound was them like maybe stepping on the broom when they exited and being like, it was here in the place where I know I did not put it, so therefore it must be the witch, and we're now friends. Witch confirmed.
I am now possessed by a witch.
Yes.